Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today with episode 148 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. Oh, man. We went over this, fellas.
Hi, I'm Basil, a.k.a. Crazy Herb, and you can check me out. I have a YouTube channel where I do gaming, very inconsistently gaming videos called youtube.com/crazyherb.
Cool. I'll have that linked in the description down below. I believe we have James going next.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is James. I'm just a cool patron guy. I do game development for as an indie dev, but I'm not talking about that. It's just not ready. But just thought I'd throw that out there, depending on how the conversation goes. I mainly do the art side and animation, but I have a pretty wide knowledge of all the different game development topics.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least.
What's up? My name's Lee. Patron guest as well. I like video games. I'm a big...
Yeah, Lee's back again. We had a podcast with him a couple of months ago, but this is a full-on patron podcast. Like I said, this is stuff we're going to be doing way more. There were just some time conflictions this week, so Karak won't be joining us. He's got other podcasts to tend to, and we had to do this one earlier. Right now, this is a morning podcast, which we have never done on the show before, so we are making history this week.
Hey, man. It's after me, bro. Just finished work.
Yeah, right. Everyone was so clutch in the Discord. They're like, yeah, let's do this, man. So that was awesome. That's really helpful, and it's great to have. I love when people step up. So if you want to be part of the podcast, feel free to support the Patreon, and you'll have a chance to join the show at some point in the coming weeks. And now with all of that mumbo-jumbo out of the way, let's talk about the first bit of news that came out yesterday as we record this Thursday. Geralt of Rivia in Soul Calibur 6. That was quite the surprise. I know they teased it a little bit. People had a feeling it was coming. Some fans speculated he was going to be in Smash, which I was like, please, God, no.
No
but
way.
What do you guys generally feel about this? Whoever would like to go first.
I don't mind going first because I'm currently replaying The Witcher.
Okay.
Third time because I love it to death. And I don't know, I'm glad I am playing it again because I do love it, but it's so time consuming. I've got other games to play. Anyway, when I finally watched the trailer this morning, actually, and they have done him quite well in Justice-wise. He looks great. I don't tend to buy fighting games as much these days because I don't tend to reap the full value and benefits of them, especially at a full price. Just because I feel like I'll play the single player, beat that, and then get my ass kicked in a multiplayer. I'm like,
Sounds like me and Dragon Ball at first.
Yeah. But I mean, it does look really good, and yeah, I love The Witcher. So
Awesome. What about you, Basil?
So yeah, I saw that, and I'm also a huge fan of The Witcher. I played it twice now, and I want to do a third replay. On the X, it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
My brother also is he's on his fourth replay, and it's the only game he plays. He'll play Mario Kart, he'll do some split screen stuff, but the only game he plays on his own is The Witcher. So when I saw that trailer and how well they kept, because I was I've never really seen a fighting game where they had a guy use a sword the way The Witcher does, and I think they look like they kind of nailed that pretty well.
Who does that?
So
the
that actually sold me on the game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not a giant fighting game guy. I like to play them with my brothers, and they're fun. The last one I played was Mortal Kombat X. Karak always goes on about how good Injustice 2 is, so I'm probably going to get that eventually. But yeah, that sold me on the game.
Yeah, because Karak likes grinding for all the armor parts in the Injustice 2, and I don't know how he did it. And he maxed out all the characters on 20. I was just like, dude, I hope that game's in your game. It was in your Game of the Year list because you played that a lot. And what about you, James? What do you feel about Geralt of Rivia joining the Soul Calibur roster?
I think it's pretty cool. It's a good fit too, especially with the art styles. I'm not even a huge Witcher fan, but I would have never really considered Soul Calibur, even though I don't really buy fighting games on PC. I used to play them a lot when I played on console, but it definitely makes me at least consider I think of the game now. I'm oh, that's cool. So Soul Calibur is in my mind now, whereas it wouldn't have been before. And I'm not even a huge Witcher fan, but I have the audiobooks. I don't play the game as much. I like the whole story and the lore and the characters, but and I saw the actual trailer, and it looks like they really captured the way he moves and his abilities. It just seems like it's a good fit. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's cool.
Absolutely, I thought it was a good fit too. And it got me thinking though, what other guest characters could be in Soul Calibur or future games. I mean, we've seen these crazy ones like Ninja Turtles and Injustice, and they did really well with them. I've been testing them out a little bit lately when I got back from Canada, and it was awesome. So, do you guys have any ideas of characters that could possibly jump into Soul Calibur? I know they do more than one guest character, or just a fighting game series in general, because every fighting game's got their own DNA. So it's like, you guys have any cool little ideas that come to mind?
I've got a few.
Let's fire away.
All right, so I know you guys are all Bethesda focused, so I mean, why not the Dragonborn? Like, the typical Nord one from the trailers, and that's the one that that's the one that Bethesda used in all their promotional stuff, so people would recognize it. And then it could be a more melee focused character, and then have a couple shouts for like the special abilities, and so that would be a pretty good fit. Although, I mean, Skyrim's still always relevant, so I mean, they could put it in at any time, and it'd probably be newsworthy. But then also, I was thinking, any Star Wars character. Obviously, if you really like thought about it, they'd be too OP. But for the sake of a game, it could be just a fun little thing to have, like Darth Maul show up or something.
They did that in 4. They did Yoda and Darth Vader.
Yeah. Well, yeah, any Star Wars character could fit, especially with all the movies and stuff. They could throw like Rey or someone in there, because it's super relevant now still.
Yeah, I like the idea of that, because I've thought to myself, the Dragonborn, that was like one of my ideas. I thought, like, imagine if they added him in, because he could have like different styles. I don't know how the game's actually going to be structured. We have very little details on Soul Calibur 6. It's just characters. But if it was almost like a Mortal Kombat 10, where you have like 3 different styles of fighting, having a Dragonborn character would be really interesting, because it could work for the Witcher as well, with all the different signs you have access to and the play styles you can tackle the game with. So
they look like they've done them very well, though.
Yes.
I imagine it'd have to be a very melee focus for the most part to be in that type of game, which is why Geralt's a good fit, because he's his magic is kind of a side thing that he does. But I mean, with the Dragonborn, they probably wouldn't be like pure spell casting. But I mean, there's definitely enough variety with the shouts to have just some like little one-off abilities.
Yeah, like
for that type of character,
like a quick foos and then like an uppercut. I can see it, man. It would fit so well. I mean,
but the dash one,
exactly. Yeah,
I can think of maybe like Neo.
Okay.
Or the but that was a PS exclusive game. But well, actually, they brought it to PC in the end, didn't they?
Yes, Neo has a horrible PC port, from what I've heard.
I think was Kratos in Soul Calibur. He was in a fighting game. It might have been All Stars.
Was he in Mortal Kombat? Or I know he was in a fighting game.
But then now Kratos, would he have the Chains of Olympus or this new axe?
They'd probably give him the new axe.
Yeah, the new version of him.
I just feel like PlayStation's going to have an exclusive character. I feel like that's always been a Soul Calibur thing. You got an exclusive character for every platform.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty easy to.
Aloy, but then she's more bow. So.
Yeah, for Xbox, I mean, it'd be pretty simple. You have Master Chief or like Marcus Phoenix. But yeah. Yeah,
because like I was thinking Aloy for sure. I thought as a PlayStation exclusive character, because she's got the spear for up close, but then she's got the bow. So many different types of ammunition and special moves, and she slides, she's nimble, so she could be like a quick mix-up character. I think they could do her really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they added her in. It just seems like the right fit.
Yeah, well, we know they're okay with using her, right? Because she's in Monster Hunter, isn't she?
True.
Like we know they're okay with pimping her out.
Who else was it? Who else just got put into Monster Hunter? It's like Dante or
Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game got a huge update. They added they're adding a new monster, they're adding a springtime thing, new weapons, they're balancing weapons.
Or who's the new Assassin's Creed character? Yeah. Maybe.
That's not bad.
Yeah, definitely good.
They could do, back to Bethesda, they could do BJ Blazkowicz or Doom Guy.
That would be interesting, the Doom Guy.
Their own Smash game kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
That
for
would be
Bethesda
hilarious,
to do that.
dude. That'd be hilarious.
I'm literally waiting for them to do that. My friend Never and I, we've talked about it for years now, that And Quake Champions kind of slowly becoming that with adding the Doom Marine and BJ, where we're just thinking Bethesda's acquiring so many IP. They're all relatively popular or have a name for themselves. I could just see them making a MOBA like Heroes of the Storm for all their IP. Like it just would make sense, but they're yet to pull the trigger on that. But regardless,
if they did never mind. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to talk about The Witcher 3 in general, because you guys are talking about like your multiple playthroughs, and I'm sitting here like I played it once.
My third playthrough, I'm still doing even the main stories differently than the quests. Like I did one of the mission with Dandelion, and it branches out and keeps branching out, just depending on what you do. Like I think the last time I did it ended at a certain point. This time I was like, I just said it differently, and it wasn't to say it was one person that he tried to frame, but it wasn't even him. It was like a higher vampire. It's just nuts, man. Like
because for me, my biggest issue with that game was the middle part. I felt was so weak in Novigrad. I literally thought it was, and I know there are people be out there who would just powerfully disagree, but it
can be a bit fetchy, I suppose.
It lost my attention so bad. Like I remember I dropped the game for a couple of weeks to play Batman Arkham, and then I came back and I grinded it out, and I enjoyed it, but it was just like that middle part is what always pushes me away. It's like I love the beginning. Like everyone loves the Bloody Baron, I think. And for me, it's like the middle part. I just felt it wasn't a part of the main quest and finding Ciri.
With the middle part, I think I'd always tended to do a lot of the others before I went, because you kind of grind to go to Skellige a bit, aren't you? From what I can think of, because it's sort of before you go there. So I tend to end doing all the loads of Witcher contracts and all that. And I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's still a masterful game. It's still a gold standard. But, like, that's the thing with video games that I think a lot of us don't realize, and I just did it right there, is, like, you can have one of the best games ever, and, like, they still have something, right? Like, I love KOTOR. I think it's the best game ever made, but I think its gameplay,
no game is perfect.
Exactly.
There's some people that don't like Elder Scrolls, but like Fallout. So they're the same people that probably wouldn't like The Witcher, and you can't argue with it, I suppose. But
absolutely.
See, I actually, confessions aside, I'm not the biggest fan of Fallout. I'm a bigger Elder Scrolls fan.
Okay.
Which is like kind of funny because I like your stuff a lot, which is why I'm on Patreon. But I don't know. There's something about like the blandness of Fallout that just stops me from playing it, like the color palette. Fallout 4 did it a little bit better, but like Fallout 3 and stuff, I can't play it for more than like 20 minutes before I'm like, this is just like so dry color wise. I know that's like intentional, it's post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yeah. But it's kind of a barrier for me, whereas like games like The Witcher or Zelda have like a much more color, and it just, I don't know, that just draws me into those games.
See, for me, like, what would break that barrier down, because I get you, because I didn't like Fallout 3. I hated it when I first played it. I've told this story a million times. But, like, for me, then I went and I played Oblivion. I loved it. It's one of my favorite games ever to this day. And I was like, I need to play more BGS games. It was as simple as that. So that's kind of what broke down the barrier, because I knew I was going to love whatever was in Fallout 3, because I love what BGS does. And that's kind of what got me over the hump. So it's kind of amazing. Like when Lone tells me, I've hardly played Skyrim. I'm like, dude, you have like one of their best games just sitting there unplayed, and you will not dive in for the adventure. I find that so crazy. But I think that shows how much I really enjoy their titles, if anything.
I'm actually the same. Like as far as the I guess for Witcher, I've got like 7 hours in it, so I haven't really played a whole bunch of it, but just from what I was playing of it, I could see it. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing, and I appreciate like the writing especially. I was like, like they're putting a lot of effort into this where other games don't. And even just the way I really did it more just for like research. I was just kind of looking around how they did things. I was like staring at the grass and stuff and like looking at different angles and seeing how things change, like weird stuff. But like just the way they design everything, it's a lot more thought out than most of the open world games are. I mean, Karak does his walk in the walk stuff. If you watch that video on the Witcher, you definitely see a lot of that stuff. But I'm the same way when it comes to the Elder Scrolls. Like Skyrim is the one I play the least, not for any like particular reason, but I guess I think part of it's because it's the third one I've played like that, so it's a little bit less special since I've had that experience before, multiple times at that point. But as far as you guys were talking about, like Fallout 3 and New Vegas in particular, they kind of had a disadvantage as far as the visuals go, just because it's in Oblivion it's like the same render quality, but there's a lot more trees and stuff to kind of catch your eye. But there's just in those Fallout games, it's mostly just terrain and then the few like buildings and stuff. Like there's not a whole lot of trees, and back then they couldn't even really cast shadows on most of their objects. So like there's no shadows. There's like nothing breaking up that color. Whereas at least in Fallout 4 they have like the shadows and they have like the god rays and stuff. Whereas those other games didn't have that. So they look a lot more bland because of that. But I mean, New Vegas that's probably my favorite out of all of them, and I only started playing that a couple years ago. Or actually, no, this year. I only started playing that this year because a friend gifted it to me, and I just dove into it. I was like, oh shit, like this is crazy.
You got a lot of hours put in that.
I was gonna say, welcome to a endless cycle of replaying the main story.
Yeah, well, you mean if you can play it 4 times, I mean.
Yeah, 4 times, and side quests end differently, and certain ones pop up based off decisions. It's great. It's that's actually ridiculous. That you're not ridiculous in a bad way, but it's like crazy to hear someone saying like, "Oh, I'm playing New Vegas for the first time in 2018." I love that.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know what it was. I guess wherever I was in whatever year that stuff came out, I guess I was in like middle school or early high school. Mm-hmm. Like I played Fallout 3. I played a decent amount of Fallout 3 for the average gamer, I guess. I didn't like do everything in the game, but I guess I saw New Vegas as I almost thought it was a DLC or something. I just never caught my eye. Yeah. And then later, one of my friends who's like, huge in RPGs, he's like, you got to play this, and he just like gave it to me, and I was like, okay. Then like I literally didn't touch it I still didn't play it for like a year and a half, and then I was like just bored one day. I was like, what games do I have to play? And I was like, let me just load this shit up. And I just played it vanilla, and I was like, oh, I get it now.
Hey, Maddie, something that might make you smile. You talked about playing New Vegas in 2018. I'm playing KOTOR for the first time.
All right, there we go. Let's go. Round of applause. How are you liking it?
I like it a lot, except for some reason it crashes at the cutscenes. And then it doesn't crash. Sorry, like it just like minimizes, and then I have to like click on it, put it back up, and then it'll like play the cutscene, then minimize again, then I have to click on, put it back up. Yeah. But other than that, I'm really enjoying the story, the voice acting. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is for like as old of a game it is.
Yeah, all Bioware titles, man. They were a step ahead always. Well, how far are you?
10 hours in. I just got off Terrace.
Okay, cool. So, all right, yeah, like you're just getting to the good stuff. I'd say like after Dantooine is when it really like gains steam. Because you could argue that game has a slower start, but there's something special about Terrace. It's like the ideal place to start it all off. But
yeah, I mean, I liked it for kind of like getting you used to the way the game runs and like the kind of like NPCs around and learning a little bit about the world. And I like the designs on a lot of stuff, even though it's like old graphics. Like the droids and stuff have very unique and interesting designs. Like, but you can still tell they're Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I've never thought of it that way, that the art style and the game itself, you see it's Star Wars even though it's so different from Star Wars. That's very interesting you pointed that out. Learn something new about your favorite games every day. Anyway, let's move on over to some Tomb Raider. So there was like a tease, and then some people looked at the elements, I believe it was, on the website, foreshadowing the Tomb Raider, and we found out this game is dropping in September. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I think this is just the type of game. It's really not the game itself, but I'm not like an Uncharted fan, and I'm not a fan really of the Tomb Raider games. So, are you guys excited for this?
Not really.
I mean, I like the Uncharted games a lot, and I enjoyed the last 2 Tomb Raider games. I thought the first one was better, but they're a game I rent. The Tomb Raider ones are. I rent them, I play them, and just because they're a really cool graphical showcase, and the stories are usually pretty entertaining to me. I love like those type of Indiana Jones type stories with like archaeology and ancient artifacts. But yeah, those I'll probably end up renting it unless they. I mean, with how games are nowadays, I'm sure they'll have some like crazy multiplayer element to it that has tons of microtransactions. But I don't know. I'm not like over the moon or anything, but it's a game I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll probably rent that after like all the other games that come out this year.
Yeah. I mean, I just gotta look at Tomb Raider and go like, what's with you guys releasing near really big games? Like a month later is Red Dead, right? And last time they released Tomb Raider, it was the same day as Fallout 4. It's like, do you guys want this series to succeed?
Well, I think this is probably a big deal to deal with the movie. Like the fact that they have a movie this year, they're like Tomb Raider. I think they think that it'll be in people's minds more, so they like push the game out the same year the movie comes out. Actually, the movie actually came out today. I didn't even know that. I like looked it up when I saw this topic on the podcast. But like, I don't know. I mean,
I haven't. Sorry. Apparently, continues the trend of not good video game movies.
I mean,
I'm shocked.
I don't know. I mean, it's sitting at 50, so I mean, it could go either way, depending on what you're into as far as what you watch. But I'll probably see it just for a date night, just something to go do. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I was just I'm surprised they're still making that type of game, like the Tomb Raider game specifically. Like when I talk to like my gamer friends, and when I hear people talk online about stuff, you know, they're like, "Oh, have you seen this game trailer?" Or "Oh, this game's gonna come out." It's something like an Anthem or a PUBG or like the Hunt Showdown or something like that. I never hear anyone be like, "Oh, I wonder what they're doing if they're gonna drop a Tomb Raider this year." You know, like no one I know ever says anything like that.
It's never in the speculation.
And I think the people that will try it will probably be more like, you know, like he was saying, like I'll rent it, you know, or you know, I'm surprised they're still making that move. I guess they just have a IP. They figure they might as well try.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's no chance they go down the exclusive route or the time exclusive route this year? No, I don't think so either.
They already announced that it's going to come to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox on day one. So it's yeah.
There we go. That's big for them. So, but then again, you look at like Titanfall versus Titanfall 2, and you're like, oh yeah, that game will completely outperform Titanfall 1, and it somehow doesn't.
Had the same problem though, where it released in between two huge releases. It's like EA kind of screwed that one over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got to be hard to predict too. I mean, cause you got to decide the stuff years in advance, and I guess not everyone always has the ability to just postpone something 6 months. You know, if they're trying to make money for a certain quarter to like get their profits up for that quarter, you know, they don't want to postpone it 6 months because then they don't get any of that money for the quarter. You know, and it looks really bad when they go to like their investors and stuff.
What was it? Days Gone. I mean, it's a rumor. It may or may not be true, but like that it was delayed because of Red Dead Redemption 2. Like
I would be surprised.
Released it this fall, and then they're like, nope, it's coming out in 2019 because Red Dead Redemption 2. Nobody wants to mess around with that.
I mean, especially because they're also like a realistic game, so it's like
it's an open world type game. Like it's just zombies instead of out west and stuff, but yeah, it does have some similarities. I mean, even though, like, what was it? Call of Duty's releasing for the first time ever in October, like early October. So there's another game that may or may not have been affected because of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's kind of interesting to see that, like, the after that is going to be dominated by them.
Yeah, because Call of Duty usually is a November game, right? So it's
always
very interesting to see it release a week before Red Dead. You know, it's clear that they're like, let's get our money in first. So I'm wondering what's going to release after Red Dead. Like, part of the fun of the holiday season is all the games you can get for Christmas, and all of a sudden, like, they're all going to try to get them out by September and early October.
Right? It's going to be interesting to see, like, will people go a month later and be like, okay, we'll release our games at the end of November, like we'll give Red Dead some time to breathe and then we'll put our game out? Or will we be like, we'll put ours at the beginning of September or something, just keep that like cushion between Red Dead? Everyone's
scared of what Red Dead will do and all that stuff, and I think that everyone's kind of like hooked on the idea of how much GTA 5 did and just assuming Red Dead will do the same. And I'm not 100% sure, because one of the things GTA 5 was able to do is, get that mainstream audience, not just the gamers, but just people in general. It reaches out to like every type of community, like every, all these different age groups, all these different ethnicities. Whereas I don't think Red Dead could necessarily do that, because it's GTA 5 is like alternate life. Like anyone can relate to that and be like, oh, I can go do some crazy stuff in there. But, Red Dead, I'm sure, obviously it's got a lot of hype, and the gamers are definitely going to be looking at it. But I don't think, like, your average, person who's not even really a gamer, who might have a system and then just have, like, GTA or something, is going to look at Red Dead and actually notice it. Because I didn't even know Red Dead existed when I was, playing, in middle school or whenever that first one came out. I think it might have been not on my console at the time. I'm not sure if that was an exclusive to one of the consoles or not. Maybe I might be wrong about that, but
it didn't PC, did it? I think there was something they couldn't do. I don't know what it was.
No, I was on consoles at the time, but the fact is just like it didn't reach that mass media spread that GTA did back then.
Like
so I think it's kind of surprising. I think everyone's assuming it will this time.
I think that's a really good point. What I will say, like, sort of countering just a little bit there, is you didn't hear about Red Dead 1 when it came out when you were in middle school, but the way the, like, media works now, it's like, I mean, I hadn't played any GTA game before GTA 5. And I'm, like, the point I'm trying to make is, when the marketing thing kind of gets up for Red Dead, it's going to be everywhere. Like,
yeah. I mean,
you won't be able to watch a YouTube video without a Red Dead ad playing. It's going to be on all of that comes out in the fall, so it'll be on all the football games. It'll be on sports games trailers. It's going to be huge all over the Xbox and the PlayStation stores, and probably in the home. Like, now you could be right, and there's definitely not as much interest in it, I don't think, as a GTA 6 or something. But I do think, like, compared to the first Red Dead, it's gonna do like exponentially more, just because of how, like, monumentally huge GTA 5 is.
Yeah, I think, like, they're gonna push it more than they did the other one. But yeah, I mean, that's true. But I don't think it's gonna reach that super mass appeal to, like, the people who aren't even really people who play games. Like, I went to a party one time in college and someone was just playing GTA at a party. Like, no one's gonna be doing that with Red Dead, I don't think.
Yeah, I think of it this way. It all boils down to what's offered in the multiplayer mode. That's really what made GTA 5 what it is. It gave it all its longevity because they didn't support it for the single-player stuff. And so I just feel like if they add a new twist on a Battle Royale mode, that's all they need to really drive the game home and have a bunch of people buy it. So I think it can be as simple as that. like, there's a decent amount of interest now, and we hardly know anything about the game. I don't even think we know that. Yeah, like I
think the way we get information has changed too, like with the social media and everything. Like, everything gets that viralness didn't really exist before the way it does now. So I mean, but
also because of that, things can look bigger and more exciting than they actually are.
Yeah,
which has happened with other games. I don't think that's the case for Red Dead, but it's still worth mentioning.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of we started talking about Rockstar and everyone was afraid of it. I mean, I just think it's. I'm just curious to see. Maybe everyone should just keep in the back of their minds, like, remember, come back to this and think, like, it might not do what everyone assumes it's going to do. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone just they think it's just going to mirror what GTA did, and I think what GTA did was very unique to GTA. I think.
Sorry, but then if developers do think that, then technically they can't release their games within 5 years of it, because GTA is still top 10 and all that.
Yeah, well,
so. I mean, they can't all be scared, otherwise that'd be the only game we get this fall.
I mean, it's just an interesting thought. I just came to my mind. I think it's going to do great.
People are worried, though, but yes.
Well, I think that's also why it's less of it will be the monumental success that GTA was, or it's just a guaranteed success. And that, that people are probably imagining, okay, most of the October money's either going to Call of Duty or Red Dead. I'll be shocked if we see any other big games announced for that month. Like, if Bethesda Game Studios announces a game, I think it's got to be November. There's no chance that's in October. Just two titans battling it out. It's like, let them do it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I think the Days Gone makes sense to push back, but then when you see a game like Tomb Raider, it's almost like a completely different game, even though, who knows, like the style of games is completely different. So, like, I can see them maybe saying, screw it, let's just release it. Because we have the movie this year, and then people are at least our names a little bit more relevant this year.
I mean, they seem to be doing a little bit of a different push for marketing. I think it's coming in like a gameplay trailer is coming in some random festival. I don't remember what the name was, but it's not like a PAX or an E3. It's like just some random festival. So I think the trailer is going to drop on a day that, like, most people are not expecting it, which might garner a little more attention.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I assume that Tomb Raider won't do that great just because I can't. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing that type of game, doing well in this culture right now.
Yeah, I think the hype of Tomb Raider's dropped a bit. I mean, I personally do like them, but yeah, I mean, all round, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's going to do that well.
Yeah, it's one that'll be like keep my eye on it.
Yeah, I can't remember what they did last time. When they actually did it when dropped it the same day as Fallout. I can't remember if they remotely well.
I only remember they had that tagline where it sold like 4 million and they weren't happy with it or something. Or was that the last one they did?
I think that might have been the first one. I'm not sure.
Okay. See, like I said, I don't even know how many games of Tomb Raider have come out in the last couple of years. Like that's how not, you know.
I think one in 2013 and then one in 2015, and then here we are in 2018, and they're dropping in September. So, I mean, I hope it does well. I don't see it in its situation, but that they're trying to probably make do. I mean, the issue is that also, you know, they're trying to get out early to beat out Red Dead, beat out Call of Duty, and in turn, we have a situation where the game might be really buggy because they had to get it out maybe a month and a half, 2 months before they wanted to.
But you said the first of these Tomb Raider games came out in 2013. The second one came out in 2015. This is 3 years later. Mm-hmm. So like those had a 2-year development cycle for Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is a 3-year development cycle. So maybe that just they already had that extra time from the extra year they took.
Could have been waiting for the movie, like I was saying, you know, to like really get those in the same year to just push the name out. But I don't know. I have no idea.
I think they compared a scene with the movie and the last game though, so a bit confused with that because they've done the new actor with the motion capture and all that. So I don't know if it's actually because we've not seen any of the game, and I'm sure I've seen a comparison with like there's a scene in a plane that sort of falls and like an old plane.
Well, I don't think it'll actually be tied into the movie. I think just the fact that the name Tomb Raider is in more places than it would normally be if there wasn't a movie as well.
I mean, I think it. Like, even though it's not anywhere near the size of Star Wars, but there's a reason the Battlefront games come out every time we do Star Wars. I mean, there's a new Star Wars movie every year. But
Lara Croft in Soul Calibur, going back to the old one.
It's not a bad idea. I wouldn't be against that. Yeah. I mean, did this movie thing, I know the year an Assassin's Creed movie dropped, it was the year there was an Assassin's Creed, but does anyone have off the top of their head any sales or performance numbers for Assassin's Creed where maybe we could think, okay, you know, if the movie drops, and then I think they had Chronicles that year, which is that side-scrolling Assassin's Creed, like
China one.
Yeah, that one.
Free.
Well, Assassin's Creed the movie did pretty bad, critically and financially. Like it wasn't that big of a success. So maybe the studio thought the Tomb Raider one, because studios think that their movie was going to be the great new video game movie that was going to make all the money and win all the critics over. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any hard evidence that we could pull up like on the spot, but I think it's just having the name be out there and be a little bit more relevant when you release the game versus waiting a year and then people kind of forget about the name and then the game comes out. I mean, it's just they don't necessarily have to even go together, but I just think having the it just be a little bit more relevant, the IP,
definitely
could potentially help sales a little bit.
Yeah, I think it will. I don't think it'll make the massive difference they need, but maybe that's what the game itself can do when people start to see it in just about a month, apparently. So now let's roll on over to some Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh my gosh, this game, I'm so excited. This game, I hope, does not get overshadowed by all the big releases this year.
Will it ever be released, though?
Yeah, that is a great question.
When this game comes out, it's going to get talked about. There's no way it's not getting its due.
Yeah, because there's so much Disney in it, and the recent leak is that 100 Acre Woods is returning, which we've seen in all the main Kingdom Hearts games, and also a brand new world, Frozen. So, who here has played Kingdom Hearts?
I've watched people play it.
No one?
I was that was like PS2 era, right?
Yeah, like a few of my friends when like I was back at school, like they always used to talk about it. They still love it, but
yeah, my friend
got around to
school just always goes on about how he loves Kingdom Hearts so much. He's just always telling me about it. So I mean,
It's interesting because it's got such a convoluted story. You'd sit there and be like, why would I ever want to get into that? But it's just there's a charm to it.
It looks adorable.
Yeah, so I was going to say, from the outside looking in, what do you guys think about Kingdom Hearts generally? Like, is it something that that you would imagine yourself maybe playing at some point?
I mean, I'll go first. No. The third one, I think my problem with like trying to get into the old ones or anything now is because there's like so many different versions you keep, like there's Kingdom Heart 2.67839-48. So it's like I can't exactly, I'd have to like, I feel like I'd have to take a class on Kingdom Hearts to just know where to start. But I may, or like the new one does kind of intrigue me as is the game open world, or is it kind of like you have
the sort of levels are basically big hub areas.
Hub areas, yeah. Like it kind of intrigues me, and like the Disney tie-ins intrigue me. Now hearing that it might have a Frozen tie-in pushes me away from it, but
interesting.
Most of the Disney tie-ins intrigue me, like the Pixar ones. I think that's kind of interesting, having like the 100 Acre Woods of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
But yeah. I can't say I am a fan of Frozen.
Interesting, because the thing that I think is going to scare the life out of people when they see this is one of the tropes with Kingdom Hearts is that what world is it? The Little Mermaid. It was always like a quick time event singing mini game. It was just awful. It was terrible. It's like it was so bad that you just didn't want to like start a new playthrough over because you'd have to go through that world. And so now with Frozen, you imagine they can only do one thing with that, and it's like, oh boy, they're doing it again.
No, dude, there's tons of potential with Frozen. Are you kidding me? Dude, Elsa is a badass. She has crazy powers.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make her a boss fight, that'd be crazy. Like she could do all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, that'd be lit.
All right.
That and the snowman and the reindeer, I mean, or whatever the hell he is, moose, whatever he is. I mean, I could definitely see some really like cutesy interactions between characters with like the snowman and like Goofy or somebody, and like I could see that being fun and entertaining.
Yeah, it's just like I wish it was something else. I mean, they gave me Toy Story though, so
Toy Story.
Yeah.
The thing
that would sell personally.
They need to make it so it's like Elsa's the villain. That'd be part of fun. Yeah. Because if she's not a villain, then what are you doing? You're just running around and singing.
Yeah.
Well,
that's exactly what Little Mermaid was. There was like hardly any combat, which is basically the highlight of the series. It's very flashy, well animated, all that stuff. And then they took that all away, and they're like quick time events and singing, and you did listen to the same song over and over. It was awful. It was awful.
What if it's just like the Sephiroth thing? You just go to some random cave and you come out, and then Elsa's there, and it's just some crazy boss battle, and that's it.
That'll literally popularize the game on its own. Like millions of YouTubers will just go in and be like, "I'm gonna play this game and make like reaction challenge videos with fighting the Elsa cave demon."
Yeah, the crazy boss battle.
Yeah, that's. I understand that from a business perspective because Frozen's like huge. But I think like this is kind of cheating, but I think a cooler place would have been like Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
I mean, it is like video games already, so it's kind of like a little meta there. But I think like you could do really like because there are some like a lot of, like the Wreck-It Ralph place and the Candy place with the racing cars. That's like original stuff that Disney made. Like there are some like Mario and stuff references in the movie, but there's a lot of original ideas they came up with.
Did anyone see the trailer to the second one though?
I did, and it doesn't give me a lot of hope, but it looks like the Emoji Movie.
I just thought I'm surprised with the popular sequel coming for The Incredibles that's not a world.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Like, that would be a really good one. I feel that. I mean, there's a good chance, like DLC down the road, they're gonna hit on all of these that we're talking about. But I'm just surprised that's not one that they're trying to match up the year with some of their big movie launches. Probably because they got to fully develop the world and the story.
Maybe it means it's going to get delayed.
Oh god, no,
wouldn't surprise me.
They're waiting till Toy Story 4 comes out, so that way they can match up with the Toy Story.
Oh god. What's hilarious is it's entirely possible because this game has been pushed back for so many years. Like, it got announced. When did this game get announced? 2013, I think. Like, it feels like it's been around forever.
Man, it's like the real Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, that's another one. But I feel like we're going to see that this year. I feel like
but at least they didn't have like an establishing, couple games right before that.
Yeah,
that were super relevant.
Yeah,
true.
That is one big thing about game. I get why some of them do announce games earlier than they probably should, but it is really annoying. Like, especially when they get cancelled as well, or delayed like a year or.
Yeah, I mean,
is what it is.
That's why I love what Bethesda kind of did with the release thing with Fallout 4, because that really did drastically alter how developers release games from that point. Everyone just started shrinking it up because they saw how much money it made. And so that's why it's more exciting than anything to see what BGS does next, because they're going to probably try and do something that'll affect the entire industry yet again. It seems like with every launch they do.
Yeah. Well, if they do announce, just say Starfield, then maybe we can see it this year, regardless if Red Dead is coming out or not.
Yeah.
But
it's the only open world game I think that could compete with the Red Dead, to be honest. But sorry.
I mean, it's definitely interesting, but it's also a pain in the ass for us, because we just want to know something,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if no one talked about anything and this E3, you just had no idea what the hell is going to happen. And people are like, hey, here's our game. It's coming out tomorrow. Or it's out now. It's out yesterday.
That's
that's such a pain now, too, because it's like, oh, we're going to release a Tomb Raider, Starfield, Red Dead, Call of Duty, what have you, all within 2 months. And it's like, I get 2 of those games.
And it's like, I only have so much time.
Big games like that, you only get one.
For me. That's why I'm kind of annoyed at myself for playing The Witcher again, but I'm not. Right.
What do you have on your backlog? All right, you're playing The Witcher. This is the best part when you tell me what's sitting there waiting for you.
It could go on. Honestly, it's ridiculous. I'm embarrassed to even say.
Yeah, let's say it. No, I'm gonna embarrass you. Let's hear it.
I'd have to turn on the Xbox, to be honest, because I got my PS4 up, and even on my PS4, I got Resident Evil 7, and I just got the VR, so I kind of could play that with that as well. Monster Hunter World, which I started playing, and then I was like, it's a bit. I'm not really a big grindy guy. I've downloaded Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls ages ago.
Heavy Rain.
Play them. On the Xbox, believe it or not, I bought the Master Chief Collection and I still haven't played it.
Hey, give it a couple months. They're fixing it. No, they really are.
Well,
that's true.
My backlog on my Xbox,
and they're going to give it some 4K.
We've got the Wolf 2. Still haven't played it.
A lot of games you're mentioning, like Heavy Rain, Wolf 2. What was the other one that? Yeah, you mentioned another game that was.
Two Souls.
It was just but it was they're all really short games. Where a day that you spend with The Witcher 3, like a weekend you spend with The Witcher 3, you could bang out so many other games in that time frame. That's what's amazing about how big these games are.
Yeah, I'm doing that with right now because I'm playing KOTOR, but I'm kind of taking my time with it, and then I'm playing shorter games before. I started KOTOR, then I played Shadow of Colossus while I was playing KOTOR, and now I'm. Even though State of Decay is not it doesn't really have an end. It's not really narrative. I've been playing a lot of that lately, but I just I have KOTOR's the game I jump to now, back to.
Yeah, it's your central focus, and then you have other ones surrounding it. Yeah, because I was for me it's just been since end of January I've flipped between Dragon Ball and Monster Hunter, and the only thing that really took me away from that was Bayonetta on my Switch, because I wanted to replay those. I beat the first one. There was also Kingdom Come, but that wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be. I mean, it's whatever.
Isn't Metro coming out this year too?
Oh,
apparently August.
Okay, so that'd be before that other stuff. I mean, but still, that's packed. That's packed. That last half of the year,
especially because it's that's right towards the end of summer. And we usually don't get big launches in the summer. That's why I think it's going to change. We're just going to see big games dropping all year round because there's with these falls and how cramped they get. Like I'd want to get my game out in the summer where people have time to play it and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look at the success of you just mentioned Kingdom Come. That game sold a lot, and it's not a huge Bethesda game or anything, and it released in February, right? So you can release games this time of year and make money.
Yeah.
I think summer has the most, not the most, but summer has a ton of potential just because, like you said, people are off, like kids in college, kids in high school. They have enough money to go buy your game, usually, or they can get it if they ask for it or something like that. I mean, that's when a lot of those huge survival games, like those ones that went viral for like that year or whatever, like DayZ, that stuff, they came out during the summer. They had DayZ sell or Arma 2, I think, and the DLC sold like more copies in that one summer the mod came out than they ever did in total. So I mean, there's definitely potential in the summer. I mean, we're going to release our game in the summer. Hopefully it's ready by then. But just because you can't do it in the winter, and that season because everyone else does it. But in the beginning of the year, I guess it's definitely possible. I mean, Kingdom Come just did it, but I think the problem at the beginning of the year is that everyone just spent money on Christmas on other things too. So like people might not want to part with their money as much.
I mean,
right after that.
That game's probably next on my list that I do kind of want to play, and it's going to take me how long? How long did it take you, May?
What game?
Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come took me about 45. That's kind of when I felt done with it because I played the whole story, and I played a decent amount of the side quests. Where after that, I could have kept going. I probably could have went 60, 70 if I really wanted to, but I was just done. I was like, all right, there's nothing really pulling me in here. This game isn't holding me down as much as I expected it to. And that's the thing with some games. Like, people are so, they attach themselves to it that they'll keep putting hours into it if they're not enjoying it. And for me, that's how I burned myself out last year. I just, played games even when I really wasn't enjoying it. Like, I enjoyed Kingdom Come for what it was. I played enough of it where I moved on after that point. But you could get more than what I put into it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing as well I don't get with... I suppose you could say I'm doing it with The Witcher, but a lot of people will continuously sort of burn themselves out on a game for the sake of, I don't know, getting the best gear on Monster Hunter or whatever, but they're not even enjoying it. They're just doing it to, I don't know, be...
Well, that's why my friends and I have the 3-game rule. Like, you're always cycling between 3 games max because you can enjoy everything equally. And especially if one of them, for me, it's Dragon Ball FighterZ. So it's a fighting game. That's all it takes. It's not a story or anything. So it's not taking up that psychic energy that you need to. Yeah, exactly. It's just a quick fighting game. So I can hop in, hop out. You have a game for every scenario, right? Like my friends usually we do one game on the go, one fighting game, one story game, and then you got something for every moment, and that always works out.
I think part of it is probably people. It's it's the devil you know versus the one you don't. even if it's not thinking negatively, it's just like I've got on my backlog. I've got Doom and the Metros. And I even bought Crysis 2 for $3. I've got games that I've wanted to play. And last night I was I just got tired of work. I was burnt out. And I was I was looking at these games. I'm like, I've never experienced them before. I don't know if I want to install this right now and then try it out. I'm like, let me just load up Oblivion and play for a couple hours. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. I mean, that's what I try to be conscious of is when I get impatient. Because, for example, in a couple of days, we're getting Attack on Titan 2. I'm really excited for that. And after that is Far Cry 5, which I've become really excited for that. So
that'd be fun for us, specifically.
Exactly, yeah. We're doing, for those wondering, we're doing a Patreon gaming session. We're going to use the map editor and make some really cool shit with it. You'll probably see a video on it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Love the map editor.
Yeah. And so...
You should do it, play just couch.
Yes. It's going to be sick. But... what I was getting at was, I catch myself making those impulse purchases at the moment right before a game comes out. I was looking at a sale on PS4 just last night because they had a huge one still going on, and there was a Darksiders War Mastered, I think it was called, for $4.
Yeah,
and I love the first Darksiders. It's a great game. And I was like, I could totally go for a replay of that, but I thought to myself, I'll probably start it. The 20th will hit, Attack on Titan 2 will come out. I'll start that. Won't be either of those games until, then Far Cry comes out. I'm reviewing that one, so I'm probably getting that before launch a little bit. And so, it just stacks.
Really too as well. Don't know why. I like that one probably even more. And then when's the next one supposed to be coming out? I'm sure they said this year, but it's probably going to be next year.
For which game?
Darksiders 3.
Which one?
Darksiders.
Oh, Darksiders. Sorry, it was lagging on my end. Yeah, they just said this year. I think that's going to be either heavily delayed or canceled. It just didn't look good, and it didn't get the attention that I think they expected. And with God of War coming in, I mean, it's interesting because it's almost like history repeating itself, because Darksiders came in after the original God of Wars, and it just was constantly compared to it, which I get why. It's very similar. Yeah. But, that's why it never really gained that huge audience. It was more like a niche game. Niche, whatever the fuck it is. And and so, I don't see it, or I see it rather replicating that same exact history again this year. If it were to drop, it would just be a less than God of War that was going to be coming out next month.
Who is streaming the God of War PS4? Oh, it's so sexy.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that game. I hope it turns out well. I was a little iffy on the combat; it just looked clunky, but it's looked smoother over time. So,
yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be really good, because another series that I love the death out of.
That's April, right?
April 20th.
Yeah,
420.
Oh God!
I'm glad. Like, if you think about it, there's sort of a big title. I mean, at least for these next couple of months, you have so it's March. You have Far Cry, then and Sea of Thieves, and then in April you have God of War, and then May you have Mario Tennis and State of Decay 2, and then I don't know about June.
June is Mario Tennis.
June is Mario Tennis. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there you go. Got two, and then in June you have Mario Tennis. I mean, those are all games that me personally I'm like interested in getting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
how the hell do they make a tennis game look so damn fun? I don't know.
I don't know how
they usually like quite good, to be fair, but like that, how they put different spins on it is mad. Like,
it's Nintendo. You don't have to put spins on it. You just release it.
Yeah, they still do.
It'll sell.
Like
it's incredible, man. I mean, that's what I love about the Switch, is because it feels like every month a new exclusive game's coming out. Like, this is the first month I've seen an exclusive Switch game drop. It didn't get like crazy reviews. It's that new Kirby game, like Star Allies. I think it got like really mediocre reviews.
I played the demo and I was like, this is very, very easy. And that's what I saw in a lot of reviews. People are saying you can kind of just do it on autopilot, and it's $60. And I'm like, I don't feel like it should be. Because the type of game it is, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like a game that you could beat in like 4 hours, and it's just a side-scrolling game. And I'm like. It's $60. I mean, it might be a longer game, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was looking at it, and this is the first time I've seen that. But most months they have something new and big. I don't know what's next month or May, but I think next month is May is Hyrule Warriors. June, like we just said, was Mario Tennis. I don't know if anything's dropping in April, but yeah, like they've filled the early part of the year always, and then they have like that one big fall title. Like last year it was Mario Odyssey. So I think this year, I was gonna say it's gonna be Smash. Like, they're doing a great job with when they drop games. I'm curious to see when Smash drops. I mean, that's a completely different audience from Red Dead, where I don't think that'll be impacted if they drop in November. I think that will be a November game. And I think
Smash on the go is a big deal.
Oh man, I think Nintendo is immune like right now anyway. Because I think the Switch is still relevant enough, and because their games are only on the Switch, I think they are immune to like the effect of other games to an extent. Because it's like somebody's like, okay, maybe I'll get 2 games, one to play it with my console buddies, and then one to play with, or my PC buddies, one to play with my Switch, like on the go. Yeah. And they're like, okay, I'll get Red Dead and Smash, and then it's like that. Those are my 2 games for the fall. And I don't know. I think Nintendo's they've done so good with the Switch that. Like, people I talk to anyway, a lot of them who have Switches, they're like, yeah, I'm going to get this game. Yeah, and I'm going to also get Smash for the Switch.
Yeah. And if anything, Nintendo always does really well at the holiday season. So even if it's not for the game itself, like day of, it's gonna for Christmas sales.
I mean,
it's gonna do well.
The Switch is outpacing the PS4 right now. Like when PS4, it's insane.
Because I made a video, and I know I dropped it last year, so I know in 2021 I'm going to eat my words when I said it was something like some guy was predicting, or some site was predicting that the Switch sells 40 million units in like 4 years, and I was like, you're crazy. I was like, there's no chance. Dude. And it's on pace. I'm sitting here like...
Well, the thing about Nintendo is that, the average parent will just buy it, for their family. Like my fiance, they have a Wii, and they've never touched the damn thing. They're just like, oh, this looks cutesy, this looks fun, and they'll play it like once, and they're done with it.
My cabinet.
Yeah. So like, or just like when holiday season comes up, people are like, oh, kids like video games. And they see something like GTA, and they're like, and then they get something Nintendo.
So true.
Like, because all the parents, they're like, what? I have this over here. There's like a gritty-looking cowboy shooting somebody on the back, and then I've got this game, and it's Mario fighting Bowser. He's like a colorful dinosaur, and the guy with the little red hat. I mean, most parents that I know are like, yeah, no, I think this is better for my kids.
Yeah, so they'll a lot of people will buy that stuff and not use it.
Yeah. I mean, my sister and my brother-in-law, they have a few kids, and they have a Wii, and they used it, but they only used it for Netflix. The kids would play like some games on it occasionally, but they really only used it for Netflix, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, my Switch is currently gathering a bit of dust, but when I do have a game that I'm playing on it, doesn't matter if I'm like knee deep in The Witcher. As soon as I've got I am on the go, I will be playing my Switch. It's so easy. Like.
Does anyone else do this where, like, anyone who has a Switch here, do they, like, I'll play it while I'm watching a TV show, which might be, like, sensory overload, but it's usually TV shows that I've already seen, like, I'll just have it on in the background, but I'll just be like, oh, yeah, I play some Switch, watch some Always Sunny in Philadelphia or whatever. Like, I just finished a game, Golf Story, which I thought was really good. It kind of drags a little bit near the end, but overall, like, the way they did golf was actually really fun for a 2D kind of RPG. And it was the comedy, the writing was pretty good for the most part. But
awesome. I was curious about that game.
I've heard good things about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it took me like, I was kind of surprised because I thought it would, usually with those type of 2D games, it usually doesn't take me too long to beat them, but this took me like 17, 18 hours. So I was like, it's pretty solid.
Sweet. Yeah, for me, I do a similar thing. Like, I agree with sensory overload because so many people just don't realize that when they do it, like that when they go completely overboard with shit going on in front of them. But like what I'll do is usually it's a sports game, like, or I'm sorry, I should say a sports game on the television, and now I'm playing my Switch because that I can just peek up at, look at the store, watch a play, and then go back to my Switch, where it's not too much where I'm watching like a show that demands my attention for the story, and then a story on my Switch that demands my attention as well. It's too much. So yeah, I do the same thing personally. Or I'll just throw the TV on for background noise. I do that when I edit because sometimes it'll be so silent you can hear a pin drop. It's awful. It's lonely, right? You just flip on the fucking TV.
No, I hear you.
I mean, the main reason why I listen to your stuff and a bunch of other people's stuff is just when I'm working, just something going on while I'm working, just so like I don't go crazy.
Exactly.
That's why I love the podcasts and everything. I'll probably watch this one even though I know everything that happened in it, just for the
I was on it last time.
Real dedication.
But I thought I'm going to listen to it, make sure I don't sound like a complete idiot.
Anyway, next topic is going to be Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 canceled. Sad news. What do you guys feel about this? I made a whole video on it, so I'm probably not going to go much on this, but you think, Bethesda's saying, like, look, this probably won't work out legally. They didn't really bring down the banhammer on them quite yet, but,
wasn't it about legally they couldn't use the voicing or something?
Correct.
So, yeah, I'm not too obviously sure about it. It's just, obviously me, I weren't personally looking at it because I don't own a PC. I knew it wouldn't come to console somehow, so other than them obviously just remaster it themselves, or they thought we'll take over, we'll do it from here, and then maybe Bethesda do it, but that's crazy speculation.
All right.
I think other people might have a better idea than me because I didn't really pay attention to it, to be quite honest.
like I don't know too much about how exactly like the law and modding kind of works, like the kind of technicalities of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But something that like kind of makes me think about, like, I don't necessarily think Bethesda's going to remaster Fallout 3. I mean, they may, who knows? But because it's right now, I mean, on the X anyway, like they gave it an update and it's on backwards compatibility, so like. Maybe they're just trying to. It might just be something as small as that. They're like, "Hey, don't really mess with this because it's still like there and still like relevant." So I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on it. Like, I don't think that they will release one, but a remaster. But maybe they will.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to. It's just like something they possibly could do. Maybe like because the other expanded studio, what was that? Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they did their first thing was a port. So they might do something similar. The newest studio might do another game as a port just to see how they maybe can get the games onto the new console and work with a BGS kind of game before they do anything bigger. But I don't know.
Yeah. I'd personally love for them to go for a Fallout 3 remaster. Like that's my hope with this, but I think it's because what's happening in turn with the cancellation of this is like, oh, you better be making something when it's like, no, they're just because the way the legal thing works from what I'm talking very brief research here because I don't know the legal side all that well, but from what I've seen, it's Bethesda gets the rights to use, for example, Ron Perlman's voice, and then for a modder to take that voice, it would violate a copyright law where Bethesda's not. It's not even like them being real assholes here. It's more so like they're not going to go to every mod and get the rights for Ron Perlman's voice, for Brian Delaney's voice, etc. It's not feasible. So that's why we have mods like this. They get shut down. But then we have mods like Beyond Skyrim Bruma, which are new assets, new voice acting, new music. And that's why they get passed along and are fine and are on Bethesda Net because it's all new stuff. So, that's the difference there. It's no discredit to what the team for the Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 mod did. I mean, they busted their ass. I talked to them very closely about all this, and it was, it really sucked because they put a lot of heart into it, and you could really see that with the work, and it was just hitting its stride to where we were going to see like a lot of quest gameplay and stuff. So it really does suck, but I didn't expect it, and when I heard the news, I was like, they'll find a way around it, and it happened so fast. That's the thing that caught me off guard.
I think it might also be more of a third-party thing. Like, I mean, I'm not 100% sure about this, but it could also be like music where you have to get the approval of the person who did it. Yeah, like exactly you hear stuff with like older games where they have to like remove sound songs and stuff because of like some contracts expiring or whatever. So I mean, it could be that they might have had to go to the individual people and have like their own contract to use that as well. But I was kind of surprised that they did cancel it. I mean, I am and I'm not, because a lot of these projects, they're so ambitious that it's a lot of times they don't work out. But or at least it seems that way. But I'm surprised they didn't actually just say, screw it, we'll get some volunteer voice actors, because I think a lot of people would have accepted that. People who just wanted to play the mod. Mm-hmm. And it's not even that bad for like the artists and the animators who worked on it, because they still have something they can put in like their portfolios or their animation reels. Yeah. But everyone else who is involved pretty much gets nothing out of this. And so I think this one had been in development for at least a year or two or something like that, Maddie.
Yeah,
like around
a year and a half.
That's a lot of time that a lot of that team would have dedicated and not got anything out of. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't just say screw it, let's just get it out however we can. I think it's possible that there could be some other things, like other technical things that they were running into, and this could have been like the thing that pushed them over and said, what.
Well, like the response, or the announcement, I should say, said a lot of it was, okay, we don't want to terminate our relationship with Bethesda or any other game company by violating these copyright laws, which I get. It was kind of like they were losing it either way, but. Like you just mentioned, in this route, okay, they didn't get the project done, but they still have stuff to show for it, where down the line when they're looking for a full-time job, they can say, hey, I worked on this big mod here, some of my work for it. Because I know a couple of modders in this team also worked on the Creation Club. So you start tampering with your relationship with Bethesda. I know they get paid enough where they say it's enough for them to pay rent now, for example, and then make money on the side doing other things. And so it's a big part of their income. It's like, you don't want to jeopardize that. I completely get that. It's not that that's the case for every modder, but I think there was too much to lose if they kept going forward. So I ultimately think it was the smart decision, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens, I guess. At the end of the day. But, at least the artists and the animators have something they can show. Because, I mean, all you need is just something to show that you have the ability to work in a game environment. You don't actually need, like, a finished game to, like, get your first jobs, you know? But...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Exactly as you said. I think everyone who worked on that project had something to show. They didn't have writers because they didn't write their own quests because they were already from Fallout 3. So anyone who worked on it was programming, animating, modeling, or, directing something. So everyone's got something to show. So I think everyone who worked on the project can take away from this in a positive way. But that's I'd love to see Bethesda do something with this. I don't think there's a high chance of it. Do you guys ultimately think there's a good chance of that, or?
No.
I think if anything, that new studio is probably just extra manpower for their next game, just to get whatever work they need done to be done by the time it comes out. That, at least for now, that's what I would assume based on how everything's been going with them.
The only other thing I would say is maybe, just maybe, they're gonna do a port for the Switch.
Yeah, it's something like that too.
Because I mean, after Skyrim and Skyrim being pretty successful on there and people liking it a lot, maybe they're like, oh, we'll throw a Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 on there.
Oh, if they put Fallout 3 on the Switch, I'd lose my shit.
Because the only reason I haven't bought Skyrim on the Switch is because I'm not too long ago bought it for the Xbox One, and I just thought I can't spend another, £50, $60 on a game that I've already played multiple times, even on the 360, and then again on the Xbox One. So even though it would be, I imagine it's really good.
I think Skyrim on the Switch is arguably like the best version of Skyrim. It's fun. It's on the go. It's like, how do they have this much content on a game on the go? But you realize it's a game from 2011. But still, it's incredible. And I guess there's very few games that have that much relevancy that long after launch, right? That's what's crazy to me is we joke about the Skyrim meme, but it's like this game's still around, still prevalent, still talked about in most general gaming discussions. Like, that's huge. Most developers would kill for that.
Really, even though obviously it's sold very well, and people will still argue and say it's not very good, it's not very RPG-ish, but it's still talked about and still relevant now. So.
I mean, people buy those games multiple times, even before the Switch came out. I mean, that's probably the main thing why I don't have it right now, because I had it on Xbox, and I don't want to buy it again on Steam just because I'm a cheap bastard. But like,
smart, I'd say.
I've had, like I'm just like, damn, like I've already bought and played this game. Like, it just bothers me to have to buy it again. But I think a lot of people just pull the trigger and say, yeah, I want to play it on my PC now, or whatever it is they're playing it on.
I've only recently, stopped buying games, like, as in, because I've not already bought them. I'm already playing games, so I'm not going to buy Kingdom Come now because it's still full price and still playing a backlog of games. So.
I'm sitting here thinking now, if Bethesda had not sent me a review code for Skyrim on the Switch or Skyrim Special Edition, I absolutely would have had the game purchased 4 times, because I bought it when it came out, got my new gaming PC, I'm like, mods, bought it. And then I knew for a fact I was getting Switch Edition. I was lucky enough to get a review code for that. Same thing with Special Edition. So, oh my God, I would have dropped $240 on a game over the course. Like, that's the thing, though. There's so many people like me who just would have, without realizing, like, I just spent an accumulated $240 without tax on
I'm
one
going to say,
Yeah,
you just realize how much you spent. And you were going to spend. You were like,
Yeah, I mean, I have Oblivion and Morrowind I've bought twice, but the difference with that is that it was so long ago that it justified it for me. being able to play that again. Whereas with Skyrim, it's just like it's been a while, but it's because it's so relevant all the time. I almost don't want to buy it because it feels too new to me. To buy it again.
That's like me with Fallout 4 and another playthrough. It's like I want to play it through again, but we still talk about it so much, mainly because of what my channel's based off of, but also like there are still people making those video essays breaking down Fallout 4 and why it really wasn't as good as it could have been, and it's incredible.
And lore and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Lore, like it's talked about so much where I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll wait. It's maybe another time.
I mean, when you have time away from something, it gives you that urge to go back to it. Mm-hmm. And when you have something like Skyrim, where it's been since the original release when I played it, I mean, a long time, like 6-ish years, whatever. But since I hear it all the time, I don't have that feeling of longing, like I haven't touched this in forever. I don't have that feeling, even though it's true, just because I hear about it all the time.
That's an interesting like kind of concept there, because like for a lot of people, hearing about it all the time makes them want to buy it. Like I mean, I know somebody at my work who he's bought Skyrim I think 6 times. Oh, wow. He had it for PC, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. So 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's like obsessed with the game. Yeah. And he knows, like, he's like, yeah, I have a problem. He's like, and this was like 2 months ago when I was talking about this, and he's like, yeah, I have it for everything but the Switch and the Xbox One. This was 2 months ago. He bought both of those copies within, because he got a Switch pretty recently, and he was like, oh, I'll just get it for the Xbox One so I have it on everything. It's like,
well,
man.
See, the thing is, one person like that accounts for 5 people like me.
Yeah.
And so they're still, that's why they do this, because it makes some money.
True that. Yeah. And it's easy. Just pour it over.
Oh, yeah. I mean, relatively. Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm saying yes, and I have no idea what goes into a port.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't either, but I've seen, I mean, one can safely assume with how developers do it and how quickly, like, between announcement and launch they get it out, and also it seems like, based on what Todd said, like, yeah, we've had Skyrim running on the Xbox One for years when we were testing for Fallout 4, and then we realized, like, why don't we put this out there for fans? I'm like, so they had it there for so long, they probably polished it up, added some features, that in the scheme of things compared to an actual full game development are nothing. And it's
So as far as like a port would go, I think it's going to be mostly work on your programming team. But the special edition, they did like overhaul a lot of the art stuff. So that was a little bit more work. But like what they were probably saying with that is they had the code up, and so they knew they can do it. And they said, you know what? Let's just put, 15 people on this for a year and, touch up some of the art stuff that needs to be fixed for like an updated, version. At that point, that's probably something like that,
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 canceled. Hopefully, in turn, this means at some point we'll see Fallout 3 resurrected. And now we turn our attention to Square Enix. So they decided to start hiring for, speaking of games that have been in development for years, Square Enix is hiring for a core team for Final Fantasy VII Remake. This was a game announced, I believe, when the hell was it?
150 years ago?
Yeah, a good couple of years ago. And it's been a wild ride with Final Fantasy VII between like everyone thinking, oh my god, they're finally doing the remake, and then it was just a PS4 port of the original one. Then we finally get this remake, radio silence afterwards, and now we're seeing just core team hiring. Like, it's almost like this game is clearly stuck in development hell, which happens with anything good Square Enix does. So, general thoughts on this, fellas?
So they were like, when you say their core team. See, when you sent me this this topic, I thought it meant like they were hiring the people who worked on the original. So you're saying that they're just now hiring their
for their
team.
Core team, yeah, like the team. At least that's what the article said.
That's pretty ridiculous. As far as trying to get it out in a timely manner.
Enix, because the last podcast I did was about the Avengers project. That's supposed to announce details this year.
Interesting. Forgot about that. I forgot about the Avengers deal. Like, see, that's a huge thing, right? And that'll make the rounds. But it's like Square just does things and then gets them out way later.
Sorry, I just got a notification from the Discord. Grimm's just asked us if we did you guys talk about Microsoft? We're still talking.
Yeah, We're about to get to that.
Yeah, so we'll carry on.
I mean, it almost makes you wonder, because sometimes companies will do something just to see what the interest is, to like, you know, like bring that to like a meeting and say, hey, look at the response to this. Like that, like you see people do Kickstarters like for that reason. Like, you know, they do a Kickstarter to prove that something is relevant and can be made money off. Like it makes you wonder if like when they do like that CG trailer for something like that or Cyberpunk, it's like, hey, well, I mean, Cyberpunk's a different company and everything, but you know, it's like maybe it's just, hey, you know, let's put this out there and see the reaction, you know, and prove like, hey, obviously this is a big deal. Let's put money into this, you know. So you never know. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy to hear that they're just now like trying to ramp up their team. If they announced that thing a while back,
it kind of makes no sense to me. I would have thought they were, well, polishing maybe. But has there been any gameplay for it?
Very brief in a trailer. Very brief.
Yeah.
And it looks like Final Fantasy 15, which that combat system sucks. I'm sorry. It's just holding circle, and then when it says block on the screen, you press square.
Yeah. So it's like an Arkham game.
B, pressing X. It's
I like the look of it. I really did like the look of it. It looked great, especially on I had it on the Pro. It looked really good. But,
I mean, I liked the game a lot. It's just that the combat was like, the reason I'm talking about it, like it's so fresh in my head, is because I played Comrades, that multiplayer expansion for Final Fantasy, and it was like Monster Hunter, but it was just the combat. You saw it again. It was like, oh my gosh, this just is not good. And the fact that we're potentially seeing that in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's like, oh boy, I'm not looking forward to that at all. The issue I have with the remake is because you have a game here that's going to be split up into 3, and as far as I'm aware, there isn't a single point in Final Fantasy VII that it can end in that first third of the game. Think of, like, I don't know if you guys have ever played Final Fantasy VII, but like the idea of it ending when you get to like, I think it's called like the Shinra Tower or something like that. Like, I just, like
a natural stopping point.
Yeah, it
type
just,
of thing.
It doesn't make sense. There's nothing that sticks out to me.
The classic, like I've actually played them on my Vita. I remember playing 1 or 2 like when I was younger, but playing them like a couple of years ago maybe on the Vita. But I didn't play 7. But it's obviously like one of the classics or the best thought of what. So
yeah,
get the shit together, man.
I agree, dude. They're fucking up. They're fucking up. I just
they keep messing about with it. People. Well, I wouldn't say lose interest, but they probably will. It's a bit like Kingdom Hearts 3. It's just going on, and you're bored away in. So you kind of just get frustrated and just think it's either going to be completely broken or it might be,
or it can get what happened to Kingdom Hearts, and like once it finally starts getting the information, it's that relief of finally, here we go. Like now it's actually coming. So I don't know if Final Fantasy VII Remake will get that same thing, because a lot of it will be fans who have played the old one or grew up with the old one and been like, oh yeah, like this is what I've been waiting for. So, you know, that's worth keeping in mind too.
Was Final Fantasy VII was that turn-based combat?
Yes.
So are they doing that in the new one, or is it like
real time, like action similar to Final Fantasy 15? It looks like.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes it fresh at least. I mean, but yeah, I mean, splitting the game up into 3 parts, making it like almost like it's like you're releasing it almost like an episodic game at that point. You know, that's weird. I have to think that's got to be just money. You know, I think they're thinking of money. Either they're thinking they don't want to make the whole game because those games used to be huge as JRPGs, so they don't want to make a like modern version of that because it'd take forever. So it's either they want to try to make a bunch of money by splitting it up, or they want to see if it does well enough to finish it. You know.
Yeah. I think it might be the latter of the two. Like, I think they might just want to see like interest, see like how well this will do, and then be like, oh, maybe we'll finish it then.
Yeah, because I mean, those games like JRPGs, those are just notorious for taking forever. And when you had turn-based combat, and like, you know, it was as far as like producing that type of game, you know, you'd use the same backdrops and stuff multiple times, and you know, you like, but making it full 3D, you're running around, that's a totally different monster as far as how much production you have to do. You know, so that choice alone is probably has a lot to do with it. You know.
So yeah, I wonder if it's going to be like an open world game. Is it going to be more linear? Like, how big is Midgar going to be? Stuff like that. Are they going to add more to the game? Like, it's a remake, not a remaster, I think, which would be more of like just bringing the old game to new systems. I just, that's the thing. I don't know what they're changing. Where if it's like, yeah, the first game is set entirely in Midgar, it's a vast open world. There's a ton of quests. It's like, okay, so what's the point of this? Because I think a lot of people, what they wanted to see was Final Fantasy VII just completely upgraded, though. But I think the reason they're splitting it up is because you look at how, like, Final Fantasy VII is, I think goes without saying, it's a big game. And the different locales you see just require a ton of new assets. And just the idea of that all being in one game, it's so much, I feel, that, like, it's possible, but I can see why they're scared. I still think they should do it because it would be tremendous. It would change the landscape of JRPGs again, like the first Final Fantasy VII did. It's just like they're going to take this approach because it's safer. It's a business.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the gameplay of it. I remember seeing some sort of CG trailer or some sort of teaser trailer a while back, so I didn't know that there was actually gameplay released. But I mean, I could definitely see, like, you got like your JRPG that had like an overworld, right? When you walk around, usually.
Yeah, once you left Midgar, it was like a little you were Cloud, but like you could just walk around the world itself. So it's like, I mean, how does that change?
Yeah, so having an overworld and then translating that into a fully 3D world where you have to actually populate it with things, not just like an image you walk on top of. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge undertaking, especially since those games were allowed to be so huge because of that. Yeah. So then trying to translate that to a modern day AAA fully 3D open world thing would be nuts, which could be part of the problem. They said, oh shit, this is an issue.
I just don't know how you don't foresee that. That's such a key component to the game. It's like one of the
people
first
do dumb stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Shit, man. But yeah, so Square's hiring for the core team. Last, but certainly not least, Microsoft is hosting their own E3 conference, and by that we mean not like, okay, what they normally do every year. They're one of the big spotlights every E3 along with Sony. But they're actually like leaving the E3 convention area and doing their own thing, very similar to kind of what EA did, where they hold their conference outside of E3. According to Microsoft, they're still going to have a very big booth presence, but it's not going to be entirely like EA Play, where every year they're in a completely separate section, having fans come in and YouTubers come in, and anyone can test their games. This is, like I said, it's entirely different. But what do you guys take away from this? Seeing Microsoft take like a small step away from E3?
That's why, though. So, because obviously they've made it public now, haven't they? Basically, so I think that's why they've got a separate one for. Is it? I'm guessing it's not public, right? Or is it?
Yeah, the booth is because E3 is opening up more to the public because it's kind of, I guess it's apparently losing popularity or something like that.
For Microsoft, so their own building, are they going to be? Like
like the press conference that we all watch on stream or TV. That's going to be in a completely different building, and then they're going to be on the convention center show floor where E3 is normally held with their usual demos and whatnot.
So are they still? Is it still like technically part of E3, or is it actually like a separate like Microsoft event? Like when we have E3 come up, is it going to be the case where Microsoft doesn't really show us anything because they're holding out for their thing, or is it still part of E3 but like held somewhere else?
It's still part of E3. It says that they're still on the convention floor like normal. Here, I'll reread the article that I have up. So it says Microsoft announces big change to its Xbox E3 plans. It will have a very different presence at this year's E3. It announced today that it's moving the majority of its Xbox presence, including its annual media briefing and Xbox Fan Fest activities, to the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. So rather than having a dedicated... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed this part. Rather than having a dedicated Xbox booth at E3 2018 on the LA Convention Center show floor, Microsoft is setting up shop at the nearby theater at LA Live. Microsoft said it will still have a meaningful presence at the convention center in the form of a new booth completely dedicated to video streaming service Mixer, where you can play, stream, and interact with games and catch the latest E3 news live throughout the entire week. So I apologize. I missed the part of rather than. So they are doing what EA is doing then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not 100% sure what all that means. I guess we just have to see what happens when it happens. Because I mean, if they're basically holding back their stuff at E3, I think that's very bad. Like for in general, like I like having E3 as a place where everyone goes and shows their stuff. You know, like when you go to PAX, no one's really showing off crazy stuff at PAX. People are just showing up, and it's just like a party, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it really is.
You know, E3 is like the, you know, I want E3 to still be that big thing. You know, but it's almost kind of, I'm thinking that Lee might be onto something. Maybe it could be that they're still, you know, doing their E3 stuff in the E3 conference,
Mm-hmm.
but trying to make it so that it's more private. But you just have to look it up online. So like, as long as they're still doing their announcements and stuff at the conference of E3 and not like a separate conference, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it does just diminish the what really incentivizes you to go as a regular consumer. Like if you're going to go to E3, you want to go to those big conferences too, or at least have the opportunity to. And if it just becomes another PAX, it's kind of not as fun for us.
Yeah.
You know?
As well as we spoke about Bethesda needing to sort of bring a lot to the table. I think Microsoft are sort of at least gaining a bit on Sony with what they're doing, but they definitely do need some exclusives to really bump that up. Maybe take a bit more, use a bit more power of just say the X, because it is a really good console, and I like just say like the Witch, it looks crazy. So I mean, when's Crackdown coming up? Like, what are they doing?
Who knows?
Yeah, they haven't given a release date. I was gonna say my take of that is kind of like the opposite. It's a little more like, I think that because E3 they opened it to the public last year, and it was like supposedly super packed. Like there was so much people, lines were huge. I feel like Microsoft is just trying to make it kind of bigger. Like, okay, now we have more space. You know, you want to come check out the Microsoft, you can go across the street, check out the Microsoft stuff. Go back there, you know, check out whatever Ubisoft stuff. You know, it's just expanding the kind of overall E3 like showcase. It's still a part of it, but it's in a separate building so as to have a little bit more room to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think maybe, I mean, I hope that Microsoft is going to kind of like, because they're like, oh yeah, we're going to go first, or well, I think Bethesda goes first, then it's Microsoft, but they're going to be like, out of the big three, they're like, we're going to go first. And I mean, last year they sort of tried to with like, I mean, every game said exclusive in front of it. Most of them were just launch exclusives or timed exclusives, but I think this year or next year it might take, because like exclusives, here's the thing, like you can't just be like, oh, we're short on exclusives. Hey Joe, can you just pop out another exclusive for me, please? I just need that by tomorrow. It's like, you know, it was like 3 years or 4 years to get one of those games. So maybe they'll officially announce Fable 4, Halo 6, maybe. That's a great controller. Whatever, like there's rumors about maybe a new Perfect Dark being done by the Gears devs that I heard, the Coalition. So maybe they're gonna come out with like a bunch of big things and do their big thing this year.
Fable game.
Yeah, I was just saying, as long as it's still part of E3, you know, like because when you hear that tagline, it's not super clear as what's happening, and so as long as it's still part of E3, that's fine. You know?
I think it is. I think it definitely is.
Just that there's less on the show floor itself. So like, the way E3 works is it's like PAX in a way, where like you just see booth after booth after booth, but the E3 convention center is huge, and I mean, like some people go gung ho. You know, when I went in 2016, Mafia 3 had one of the coolest freaking booths I've seen. They had like a band from the 70s there playing. They had like this old school looking bar. It was really, really well done, and it caught your eye every time. So like, I think this is a way of also maybe cutting costs a little bit, because you don't have to invest in this huge booth. You instead just own the venue itself. So if people want Microsoft, they go to Microsoft instead of stumbling upon it. Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's because there are more general consumers entering E3. It's not just a trade show where everyone around you is either a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, or they work at some gaming website. So, you know, I think it's an interesting choice. I don't I feel like it's almost like we see so much now ever since Greg Miller left and made Kind of Funny. I feel like, when you leave the big thing and make out your own area, it draws more attention in some way. And I think that's kind of what this whole thing with like EA leaving and doing EA Play, and then Microsoft leaving and doing this thing in their own little building. It's still part of the E3 experience, but it's like maybe it gets more attention, and maybe they get more feedback, more importantly, because it's more narrowed down there. That's the other thing, because EA is all about that. They say at EA Play they get tremendous feedback. Apparently, it didn't work out well for Battlefront 2, but I digress. There's a good chance that some pros can pop out of it. I just don't fully grasp the concept of leaving the show floor. I guess it's no competition. That's what I'd probably chalk it up to.
I guess whether or not that separate building is private or public, I think makes a big deal. But I think we don't know that. Like we don't know. Like, is it just an expansion of E3, or is it I'm taking my toys over here with my friends, and so everyone else can't see that?
I like that. That's good. That's a good way of drawing it up. That's probably exactly what it is.
Because if it's private, then it's like then you're making E3 less special for the people who are going there, which kind of sucks.
I think it'll be public. I can't see them being like, oh, okay, we don't want to be part of this, like, especially with like the way Phil Spencer's been towards like consumers. I would be surprised if, like, no, we're gonna be the only one here who doesn't let the public in.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be very puzzling. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's only a couple months away. That's the crazy part. So
crazy how fast it's coming up.
I know. And I mean, I think that's why it comes up so fast on us, because we have so many games to play. So it's just like time's just rolling by with these games, and then boom, it's E3, just like that. So it's getting to be hype season.
Does it get anyone else like a little interested that Nintendo's like the only game, like they haven't announced any games for post E3 that I'm aware of, like besides maybe a couple ports, but like first party games besides Smash, they haven't announced anything. I mean, Metroid has already been announced, but
Pokemon for the Switch.
I know.
Too. Like, I feel like they're going to have a Nintendo Director at E3. They're going to be like, oh, by the way, Pokemon or something's coming out in December after Smash, or maybe it's coming out.
I feel like they're trying to spread it out, like, probably next year. Next year will either be Metroid or Pokemon, and then 2020 will be the last remaining one, because they had the chance to have, like, a big home run 4 years in a row, which not many companies are lucky to have, like Super Mario, Smash, Pokemon, and then Metroid. Yep. Yeah, Zelda as well. Like, if they're smart with it and they spread the wealth every fall, I don't see them doubling up. Like, I could see them maybe adding an Animal Crossing in. I know that's kind of a big deal. I've been playing Animal Crossing for the first time ever on my DS. It's all right. But I know a lot of people love it. So, I mean, what were you going to say, though, Basil? I mean, interrupt you there.
Oh, no, I had a thought, but then it went away.
Oh. Yeah, podcasting's great, isn't it?
I just think because they only need one big game though for an E3. That's the thing with Nintendo. Like, I think because it's they just had Zelda, and that's all they needed, because it was obviously Game of the Year like 10 times over, and it was great. But like, if they were to they could do a whole press conference about Pokemon.
Yeah, that reminds me. So like when they had Zelda at E3, it was the year I went, and like they had the biggest line of everyone. Huge. So many people were online to play Zelda, and they had this sick like booth with grass in it and stuff to kind of replicate the in-game areas. It was awesome. But I mean, they had easily some of the biggest lines.
But yeah, I mean, I just love E3. That's probably the worst thing about not living in America. It's a bit expensive.
I live literally across the country from E3. To get there would be too much money.
Yeah, it's an expensive trip.
Yeah, I've never gone to an E3. I went to PAX for the first time. I think it was last year's, but that was fun. But I would definitely love to be able to go to those on like a regular basis. That'd be awesome. Because it's an experience. It's a big crazy celebration of what gaming. Yeah, it's a party.
Yeah, because like I think of it this way: whenever you like as a YouTuber, when you take out your camera in public, like some people are able just to disable that little switch in your brain that you're like, people are watching me on my camera and I'm in my own little world. But for me, like, whenever I do that, I'm just kind of like, ooh, like, I can feel their eyes. So I usually try to avoid it. But, like, when you're at E3, everyone is, like, walking around with cameras out. Like, it's almost like you're home in a way. So, like, you can do shit like that and feel totally in the norm. Like I remember,
you're not getting any negative extra attention type of thing.
Yeah, it's not like what's that, or not even negative. It's just like what's that guy doing? Like you're not trying to disturb the peace here, right? So
well, you get those looks like who's this fucking guy?
Yeah. Because like I remember when I did for my Fallout 4 VR hands-on thing, like I was like just totally in my own zone, talking in front of the vault door that I had behind me, and it was a really cool experience. And like I said, I just felt very at home and comfortable on camera as if I was sitting in here doing this. So, that's what I get most excited about is, like you said, it's this big celebration. It's like, everyone's on the same page. It's a really interesting bubble to be in.
Sorry, a bit off topic. Did any of you guys watch that? Listen to that interview with Todd Howard and that.
I actually haven't had the chance to.
Okay. Yeah, you should probably.
I've heard it's interesting, but like he doesn't say anything about.
Does not give anything away. It's so annoying. He's trying to say, so what game would you like to work on? He's like, and he just doesn't say it. You just think he'd say, stop.
He's a master of the sidestep, I swear. I watched, because I like, with the Starfield speculation really ramping up, I've had to like dig deep into some other interviews and the way they answer questions. Like Pete Hines is really transparent. He's really...
They're like politicians, man.
Yeah, but like when Todd Howard's there, he's like, because I think Danny O'Dwyer was interviewing him, and he talked about Fallout Online, and Todd's like, well, if you've had the idea, we've probably thought about it. It's like then what else have you thought of? It's like, shit, So they're a master of like building intrigue without saying what they're doing.
He did mention a sci-fi game years ago that got cancelled. Isn't in their studio, but that was like when he was making like Daggerfall. So.
Wow.
So they have got probably even that same idea as them. And whatnot. So. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, like what we're referencing right now is there was an interview that Ted Price, I think, who works at Insomniac Games, did with Todd Howard, and I clicked on the link. I didn't have a chance to listen because I wanted to see if he did other interviews with other game devs, and this is like a thing he does. So Todd Howard was the latest interview, and apparently it's a pretty good listen, and a lot of people have been sending it my way. So I have to take some time to listen to it. How long is it? Is it like a quick interview?
Probably
or?
An hour, 20 minutes maybe.
Oh wow, so it's a pretty long chat.
Sort of journey. I listened to it that day when he posted it. So.
Interesting.
Anyone will see the Fable game that Horizon was?
I hope so. I mean, I hope so, but I also don't think there's a chance of that because isn't it like really early in development?
I don't know because the rumor was out this year, but I don't know if they've been working on it.
Oh, okay. I thought the rumor was like they started this year. Okay, so yeah, then there's a chance.
When did Horizon 3 come out? 2016?
Yes.
Because like they could have been working on Fable since that game, like maybe since they finished the DLC or something or had a side team working on the DLC and then moved on to Fable. So they could be theoretically a year and a half or a year into development, which would still be kind of early. But Microsoft does have an exclusive problem right now, so if they're like, hey, it's a little bit off, but we got stuff coming.
Yeah, I mean, but every year, they've said it for the past 3 years, like, this is the biggest E3 yet, and they did it again, and I'm just like, guys, please stop. Like,
we did it.
What if said maybe this is the smallest one we're doing?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, would you rather than be transparent and say, like, yeah, we're not doing much. Like, it's not going to be special.
I don't know. I mean, like, you have Bethesda last year. Like, they didn't make any claims about 3E3 that I remember, but it was still just super underwhelming. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, do you want to possibly set yourself up for something like that? Like, you got to have some sort. I mean, like, I thought Microsoft's E3, like, even though they said it was the biggest one yet, I thought it had a lot of interesting stuff last year, with like a lot of interesting type different games that you don't normally see shown at E3.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't walk away from it kind of the way I did walk away from Bethesda's, where I was like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Bethesda's last one, I think, is more that those type of games. It's not that I don't want to push down those games. It's like they're definitely cool in their own right, but those are the type of games you see included at the Microsoft or the Sony ones.
Yeah, not the highlight.
Yeah, and so I think that's really the big, like, especially when you have a studio that releases these monumental games, and then they don't show one. Like when you break off and then you don't show one of those. I think it's kind of hard for people to really get with that all the time.
Absolutely.
It's just, the room. Just say if they didn't sort of announce or tease that Smash, if the next the E3 that's coming up, if it was sort of, you sort of heard things in the pipeline about Smash, and then Nintendo didn't announce it, everyone would be disappointed. So it's kind of, you think, are they going to announce Starfield, and they don't, and it's automatically just shit.
Yeah.
I think didn't they lie about Fallout 4 and saying that they weren't working on it at one point when they were? Is that like something that really happened?
I don't remember that.
I don't know. That's just something I've read, and I don't know if that's true or not. But like when you read something like that, it's like then you don't know what to think. For all you know, they could just be like messing with you.
Yeah,
which is also frustrating.
Case, that article is probably buried because there's been so many articles about Fallout 4. If you try to like specifically, you'd have to have very specific keywords.
I mean, I hear people bring it up in comments, but I don't know if it's how true it is. It's just something people say. But
if so, what they say about Elder Scrolls 6 out the window, right? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's like if they lie all the time, if they have like gone on record and lied, say no, we're just not working on Fallout 4, and then it comes out that year, then it's like you can't take anything. Like it's like you have no idea, which is it's exciting, but at the same time, it's just like it's kind of nerve wracking, but also frustrating. Because you want to have something to look forward to, at least have an idea of something,
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like with E3, I don't want to know every game you're making. I want some surprises. That being said, I don't want you to be like, oh yeah, we might be working on something, we might not. It may be this or it may be this. Like,
say nothing or
maybe like
give us something. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well. It's only a couple of months away, and if Bethesda takes the same route as Fallout 4, then we'll see it in about 2 months-ish.
Yeah, really.
So how crazy is that? So it's a short window, and that does it for all we have for the H.A.M Radio Podcast. That was a blast, fellas. Thank you so much for joining the show. If there's anything you'd like to pimp again, fire away. Anything you're trying to promote?
Yeah, so I'll pimp my YouTube channel again, youtube.com/crazyherb. And, awesome. Thanks for having me on, Maddie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, gentlemen, this is a last-minute thing. We didn't really expect it to pop up like this, so thank you for just jumping right on and being very talkative, which is always good. We love having the talkative guests. That's really helpful. And I hope you guys had a good time.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, thanks for having me on. I mean, it's definitely it was a lot longer than I thought it would be. It was a ton of fun too. I mean, but I already told you I'm available a lot. So if you need another last minute guy, I always keep up with the stuff. So I'm always ready to shoot the shit.
Absolutely. All right, and that'll wrap up episode 148 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. We need a hashtag. We forgot last week, and someone tweeted at us and said hashtag no hashtag in capital letters. So, what shall we do for this week?
Oh, no.
Hashtag big.
Hashtag what?
Hashtag big fan.
Big fan?
Big fan.
Big fan. Okay. That's fine with me. Hashtag big fan. If you got this far, tweet at any of the handles you see on screen. And we'll catch you guys in next week's episode. Peace out.
Bye.